So taking a moment here on this beautiful morning that started out foggy and is already sunny to arrive on your mat. We'll just arrive here on the mountaintop, giving ourselves a moment to settle. Coming back to your breath. Breathing in and breathing out. And in the shower upstairs is this note. It's only in that shower, but it says the hot water takes time to arrive. And it reminds me that we often think we just arrive when we pull our car into the driveway or the plane lands, and yet it takes time to bring body, mind, and spirit all to arrive. And to arrive with intention, the energy you want to bring, the tone you want to bring, and the version of you that you want to bring. And so we'll take a moment here just to set that intention. Perhaps it has to do with your card from yesterday. Perhaps it has to do with the one in front of you, or something that you knew when you arrived that you'd like to explore, discover, awaken about. And taking a moment to notice how you feel this morning. Perhaps letting it in and enjoying it without guilt. Perhaps a practice you want to bring back with you in taking a moment to check in and enjoying every moment, every morning. And we'll start by bringing a hand to heart and another hand atop. This hand to heart practice is something we'll practice throughout the week. Hand on heart. And we know that the bottom hand, the heel of the hand, pressing into that heart space, releases oxytocin. And so enjoying that feel-good hormone circulating around. Knowing this sensation and this act of kindness is available to you anytime, except in the OR. Though I think that might be sterile fields, but don't quote me on that. And noticing the top hand on the bottom hand, rubbing that skin to skin. We know that in that small movement, we are decreasing cortisol in your saliva, if you want the scientific study. But I like to envision the cortisol melting and the oxytocin circulating to every nook and cranny, especially any tight spots or spots about you that maybe you don't like. Sending that oxytocin there, filled with kindness, compassion. And coming back to your breath. And if your hand to heart feels a little funny this morning, just dive into the idea of practicing, getting used to it, experimenting, research and development, noticing how it feels, seeing what might happen if you practice it. And we'll be here for a few moments, coming back to the breath. And I'm going to share a passage as we start off our week, inspired by Archana's birthday. A lot of people come here for their birthday. It's called Birthday Musing. And it is in a book that I read from often called An Invitation to Pause Again. And it's written by a woman who's now probably in her 80s. She's a yoga teacher and a coach. And she has, I think, had a mother who has severe dementia and Alzheimer's. And so many of her writings are written about navigating that. It's my birthday today, 68 years on this planet Earth. That's an amazing number of inhales and exhales since my very first breath into this life. Yesterday, while I was driving home, I heard these lyrics to a song, "Naked as we come." We really did all come into this life naked. We didn't arrive with things and attachments and stories. We came in fresh and new. What happens between that first breath and that last breath is all up for grabs. I guess you could also say that what happens between my next 68-year-old breath and my last breath is up for grabs too. It is not already written in stone, but rather it's created moment by moment. It's where we put the focus of our attention. It's what we claim to be important. It's what we believe to be true. So on this day of my birth, I honor and celebrate all of us. Through some miracle of miracles, we breathed our way into this most spectacular adventure. Let's not waste a second of it before we breathe our way out. Drop all the armor, drop all the pretense, drop all the stories, and become as naked as when you first arrived. You were perfect then, and you are still perfect now. So coming back to this idea of fresh starts and dropping the stories and the pretense and dropping all that is not you. In mindset work, we tend to let go of everything that came before. Starting here, starting now, that is what came to pass, and this is where we are. How would we like to move forward and enjoy each breath from here until our last breath? Perhaps lighter and without guilt or blame or shame. Perhaps with hope and purpose. Perhaps with a lightness. And so on this first morning practice, thinking about arriving here perhaps naked as they come, willing to shift and open your eyes and see things perhaps in a fresh, new way. One of my favorite quotes about coaching is this idea that the discovery is not in seeking new landscapes, it's in seeing with new eyes. So seeing your life and all that's happened thus far and all that will happen with new eyes, fresh perspective, and perhaps seeing more with your heart. So coming back to your breath here, breathing in and out. Enjoying 3 more delicious, nourishing breaths here. Nourishing ourselves with the breath and some stillness and touch, hand on hand, hand on heart. And when you feel complete, bring your hands together, rubbing them together, warming them up, and bring your thumbs into your sternum and the fingertips up towards the sky. And we'll take in a big, deep breath together and an out breath. And we'll take an in-breath for Om together if you wish to join. Om. Enjoying for a moment that collective voice, the collective vibration, and how that feels in your body. And we'll take in one more big breath and another clearing breath. And one more Om together before we begin. Breathing in. Lowering your hands and opening your eyes. Just letting the light in, noticing if you need to rearrange feet or anything else. Find your sit bones and connecting them deeply into whatever you're sitting upon. Tilt your pelvic bowl forward, connect the ischial spines downward, and take a big juicy inhale, reaching your arms up towards the sky. You'll take your right thumb and middle finger, grab your left wrist, and inhale, reach to the sky. Exhale, gently tip towards the right, enjoying the breath. Tugging gently to the right. One more breath here. Inhale, and if it's okay for your neck, breathe out over the left shoulder. Gazing upward. Bringing your gaze back to center, your hands back to center. Switch the clasp of your hands and inhale, reach tall, grow tall. Lengthen as both side bodies grow right out of your sit bones. And then exhale, tip towards the left and enjoy your whole right side body here. Inhale, tug that right wrist to the left. And exhale, letting it out. Another inhale here, being kind to your body, not overstretching. And if it's okay for your neck, gaze over the right shoulder, breathing it out. Coming back to center, release your hands, and you bring your arms out to the sides and draw them back a couple of inches. Stretch backwards, pinch your scapula together. Your heart is going to open towards the front. Big breath into that heart space. Inhale once again. And exhale, round forward like you're drawing in a ginormous beach ball. Arch your back. Enjoy that stretch in the back. Inhale, reaching open, heart open. Just letting in all the beauty of this place and the slowness and the specialness of this morning. Rounding once again, huge beach ball, sucking your belly all the way back towards your spine. And opening your heart space once again. Just pause here for a moment. Pinch the scapula together once again and release. Bring your arms back to neutral, straight. And we're going to wrap them in front, right elbow under left. Coming into eagle arms, you'll bring your palms to the back and then palms together. If your palms reach, great. If they don't, grab your elbows or whatever works here. Bring your elbows to shoulder height and pause here. Sound your breath between the scapula. Inviting some spaciousness. Inhale once again, right into the tightness. Perhaps press your elbows against one another. Exhale, round forward. Bring your elbows to your belly. Release your head and neck and enjoy your spine here. One breath here. Bring your elbows back up to shoulder height and untangle them. Your arms stretch to the side walls. Wrists are flexed, palms will press into the side walls and pinch your scapula once again. Exhale, release. Drop your chin to your chest and release your neck muscles kindly. Bringing your gaze back to neutral. Gaze towards your left hand and back to center. And towards your right hand and back to center. And you'll turn your palms to the front and wrap in the opposite direction, left arm under right if you followed my direction last time. Elbows to shoulder height and pause here. No hurry to undo the tightness. Let the breath come in and melt it. Using each of these breaths with intention. Perhaps sending kindness and appreciation to your shoulders for all of that they do. All the surgeries they've performed, children they've picked up, slides and microscopes they've huddled over. Big inhale, and drop your elbows into your belly, release your head and neck, and enjoy. Big juicy breath. And exhale, let it out. One more big breath here. And exhale, release. Bringing your elbows back up to shoulder height, chin up to neutral, untangle your arms. And once again, pinch your scapula together and exhale, release. Lowering your arms down behind you at your sacrum, clasp them together. Press your hands towards the floor. And you'll drop your chin to chest once again and enjoy that release. Huge breath in as you press your hands towards the floor. And exhale, letting it out. Inhale, release your hands and just let them go by your side, taking out whatever you're sitting upon. We will stretch our legs long and move the flesh of your seat out of the way. If you want to sit on a blanket, you can, and move that flesh with kindness. It makes the seat more comfortable. And your knees can be bent gently if that works for you. Flex your ankles and spread your toes as wide as you can. As a pediatrician, I talk about toes a lot. Taking care of your toes, using their energy. As you spread them, just notice the energy coming into your feet here. Huge breath in, pouring it right into your belly and the base of your spine. And as you exhale, slide forward down your shins towards your ankles. Wherever you land is beautiful here. Going inward, let your head drop. Exhale, point your toes and enjoy your shins and everything waking up. And bring your toes on the inhale towards your nose and enjoy the back of your legs. Exhale, point. And inhale, flex back. Holding the ankles flexed, press your knees towards the floor and enjoy the whole back body, back of the legs. You may slide forward a little bit more. Huge breath. And slowly sliding up your knees to your thighs. Bring your hands behind you. We're going to tense them like cupcakes so you don't smush the frosting. You'll send your sit bones downward and your heart's going to shine forward. Tilt that pelvic bowl forward so you're not folded. And a huge inhale here. Let your heart shine forward. Perhaps envision seeing with your heart everything engaged here in Dandasana. Huge breath out. And you can release. We're going to slowly sweep our feet around, coming to hands and knees. Spread your fingers wide like pie shapes here, equal pie shapes, and flatten your palms into the floor to be kind to your wrists. And take a moment, your knees will be hips width, your humeral heads will tuck into your shoulders, engage your belly. And we'll inhale for cow pose, honoring all those cows that are out there this morning. If you went for a walk, enjoy the front of your belly. Exhale, round, and suck your belly all the way up, coming into the juiciest cat. Many of you have cats, honoring those. Inhale, and come back into cow, waking up your spine with kindness, bathing it with the motion. And thinking about your breath here. Each of these breaths important. And we'll come back to tabletop. Drop your elbows down to the floor. We're going to come into puppy pose, releasing your neck and shoulders a little bit more. You'll walk your elbows farther forward and let your hips come back towards your heels. Lower your forehead to the floor. And 2 big juicy breaths here. And we'll come back to hands and knees. Stretch your right leg long onto your tippy toes and pause here. Just even out your hands, wrists, making sure everything is taking good care of you. Taking time to set yourself up for success. Inhale your right foot up a little below hip height. Even out your hips so they're flat to the floor. And if it feels good, you can bring your left hand long. So left fingers are reaching long, right heel's reaching behind you. Breathe into your belly, wakening up your middle, your center, finding it. Oftentimes when we arrive here, we're not sure exactly where it is. Breathing right into that belly spot, the dantian spot. And exhale, let it out. One more breath here. Lower that left hand. You're going to drop your right toes to the earth, drop your right heel to the earth, and reach that right arm up towards the sky, coming into gate pose. You can put that left foot wherever you feel is most stable. Huge inhale, Exhale, reach your right arm all the way over your right ear gracefully, stretching your fingers long. And your outer edge of your right foot's gonna reach towards the floor. Breathing into every nook and cranny here. And exhale, let it out. Inhale, reach that right arm up towards the sky. Exhale, drop it into the left hip crease behind you. Roll your right shoulder open, and if it's okay for your neck, gaze upward. Press that right shoulder back and enjoy the sensations there. Reach your right hand towards the sky. And we'll come back down to hands and knees. Take a moment here to reorganize, perhaps a cat-cow if that feels good to your back. And come to tabletop. Even your hands, spread your fingers wide to take good care of your wrists. You'll stretch your left leg long, pausing here. When you're ready, inhale and lift it up a little below hip height. Being kind to your back here, finding your center and your balance, finding that spot of steadiness, connecting with your belly. When you're ready, you'll reach your right arm long, reaching long in either direction. Enjoying the space. Noticing that you're coming into your body, arriving here, connecting with each little nook and cranny with kindness. Lower your right hand, drop your left toes. You'll drop your left heel to the right and reach that left arm up. You can kickstand that right foot wherever feels good today. Left outer edge of the foot's going to connect into the earth. Huge drink of breath down through that left hand into your chest. And exhale, reach the left arm over the left ear gracefully and enjoy it. Big breaths. Huge breath here. Reaching, 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 filling every nook and cranny of your lungs and your waist with breath and oxygen, and maybe also hope. A little compassion there sprinkled in. Reach that left arm up to the sky and drop it into the right hip crease and roll that left shoulder open, and if it's okay for your neck, gaze up. Reach the left hand up once again, and we'll come back to hands and knees. Bring your knees apart, toes together, coming back to child's pose. Release your wrists long in front, but sink your hips towards your heels and just pause here for a moment. Connecting here to perhaps some stories or some feeling or emotion, something you'd like to just let go of as you move forward. An invitation not to let go of it, but just to notice what it is. Something that's making your journey heavier, clouding your view as you move forward. And we'll come back to hands and knees, taking your time. And walk your hands forward a handprint, curl your toes, and lift right up into downward dog, our first downward dog. And do it however you like, feet together, feet apart. Notice what your body needs. In fact, pausing to really try out some different spots with your feet and your hands. Perhaps lower your forehead close to the floor. Coming back to the breath here. Big breath into your chest. And exhale, gaze between your legs. One of the reasons we do inversions in yoga is to shift our perspective. So see what's back there. Huge breath in. And exhale, let it out on the out breath, whatever you'd like to let go of. Lifting up onto your tippy toes as high, 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 high as you can. And on the exhale, lower your heels towards the floor and enjoy the energetic shifts. Letting the energy move, course through. Bend that left knee and press the right heel towards the floor. And switch sides, bend the right knee, left heel is going to reach towards the floor. Come back to center, lift up both heels as high as you can, and drop both heels to the left side. Your left knee is going to bend and your right hip will pop up. Sending some breath there. Exhale, let it out. And we'll come back to center, lifting up high once again, and drop your heels to the right. Right knee is going to bend. Left heel presses towards the floor, and just enjoy what happens here. Coming back to center, lifting up on your heels and lowering your heels down. Take a minute to be kind to your wrists and adjust your dog as needed. Notice the left ball of your foot will raise the right foot up towards the sky, coming into three-legged dog. Press your heel into the back wall. Huge in-breath here. And as you exhale, gently bring your foot between your hands. We're going to come into warrior one here. So warrior one, your right toes are going to jet line towards the front. Your back foot's going to be on a slight angle, and your arms will both reach up towards the sky. As you bend your front knee, notice if you need to wiggle your toes farther forward so your knee is not in front of your ankle. Huge breath in. And exhale, sink in. Bend that front knee even further. Your calf might have a lovely stretch. Notice that left hip flexor. Huge breath in. Exhale, sinking in here. Right thumb and middle finger will grab the left wrist. Tip gently to the right. Breathe into that hip. Coming back to center. Open your arms out to the side walls. Reclasp them at your hips, pressing down towards the floor, shoulders down and back. If it feels good, you can drop your chin to your chest here as well. Bringing your chin back to neutral. If it feels good, you can flip forward into a humble warrior. Totally optional. You'll come to the inside of the right knee. Drop your head towards the floor. Release your head and neck. No gripping. If there's gripping, soften. And allow those hands to reach forward, sending some love to the shoulders. And to that right hip for holding you up here. Slowly lifting up once again. Taking your time, let the blood flow adjust here. Release your hands and bring them to heart center. We're going to come forward into warrior three, which is a balance pose. So just do whatever works for you. Hop that back foot forward about a footprint. Your right foot, steady it. Use your toes. Spread your toes wide. Little baby kids use that to learn to walk. You're going to shift into that front foot. Press your thumbs into your sternum to help you with balance and lift your left foot up wherever you'd like to lift it. Doesn't have to go far. You can even leave the toe on the earth if that feels good. Press the thumbs into your sternum to help you balance. And hang out here. If anyone wants to have Superman hands, you can do that. Notice what feels good to you. And come back to the breath if you start to tip. When you start to tip, soften. When you resist is when you fall. Lowering your back foot to the earth. Land in a warrior two and cartwheel your arms open. Bend that front knee. Gaze over the right middle finger and enjoy here. Big deep breath. Exhale, drop your left hand down that left leg, reach your right arm up. Enjoy peaceful warrior. Opening up your right ribs, breathing into them. Inviting some spaciousness and looseness. Coming back to warrior two. We'll straighten that front knee. Shoot your left hip back. Right hands will come forward. And we'll come into triangle pose. If you want to grab a block, feel free. Just loosening up your body, letting it move. Coming back up. Right, bend that front knee, come into warrior two. And we'll bring our hands down to the floor on either side of the right foot. You can put them on fists and hop your back foot all the way up to meet the front foot, coming into a forward fold. Widen your feet, lifting up all 10 toes to connect the four corners of your feet into the earth, lowering them down. Grab opposite elbow and drop your head. Release. Shifting in all the directions until you find your center. Noticing that when you move slow, you can find it, and pause when you found it. Enjoy it. Release your hands towards the floor. Left hand will come in between your feet. Spread your fingers wide. Bend your left knee and twist to the right and roll that right wrist. Releasing it, being kind. Reach that right hand towards the sky in both directions. Lower your right hand, bend your right knee, and switch sides. Enjoying your IT bands and your hips. Lowering that hand, bend your knees, juicy knee bend, and roll up slowly, inch by inch by inch. Letting the blood flow adjust. Noticing if there's dizzy, and just enjoy it. Letting yourself be messy here. And we'll come into our first mountain pose on the mountain. Once again, lifting up all 10 toes, noticing the four corners of your feet and sending them downward. Sending up the energy of this sacred earth up into your legs, knees. Tuck your pelvis, align your spine, grow as tall as you can towards the sky. Reach the crown of your head towards the sky. Inhale. And exhale, palms will open towards the front, heart light. Tadasana or mountain pose. Taking a moment to really enjoy it, no rush. And bring a hand to heart and another hand on top. Connecting in with that heart space. Connecting to this idea of moving forward, seeing with your heart. Moving forward, perhaps with less stories. One breath at a time. When you're ready, lowering your hands, open your eyes, and we'll reach our arms out and up. Bring your palms together, slight arch back, folding forward, forward fold. Inhale for a half lift. Your back will be flat. Crown of the head is reaching forward. Exhale, forward fold. Release your head and neck. Inhale once again for a half lift. Spine is flat. You'll notice the backs of your legs. Send them some love. Exhale, forward fold. Place your hands on the floor and step your feet back to plank pose. And we'll stop here, top of the push-up. Once again, find your center. Find your stability. Tipping forward onto your tippy toes, bend your knees, untuck your toes, and bring your elbows in, and we'll roll down, chaturanga, to the floor. Forehead's going to be on the earth. Take a moment here, weight out of your hands, and notice your front body on the floor. Inhale, lift up into a low cobra. Weight is out of your hands. Exhale, lower down. Inhale once again into a low cobra, noticing your lower back, engaging it a little higher if you have a little more room. And exhale, lower down. Curling your toes, press up into downward dog and pause. Enjoy the dog. Notice your hips. Your hips are the apex, pressing into your hands, elbows, humeral heads into the sockets, and reach your hips towards the sky. Lower your forehead towards the floor. Really enjoy your dog. A couple breaths here. When you're ready, find the ball of your right foot and raise your left foot towards the sky, coming into three-legged dog. Press your heel into the back wall, everything engaged, belly in particular, your center. Huge breath in. Pour the breath all the way into your left heel. Exhale, gently bring your foot between your hands. Come into warrior one and rise up. Take your time. Wiggle those left toes as far forward as needed and turn your right hip forward. Your back toe is going to be on an angle, not as wide as a warrior two, and raise both arms up towards the sky. Huge inhale, stretch tall, lengthen your side body, and exhale, bend your front knee. Once again, inhale, grow as tall as you can. Lengthen the side body all the way through your belly. And exhale, sink in. Left thumb and middle finger will grab the right wrist and gently tug. Send some energy to the front of the right hip. Coming back to center. Open your arms and clasp them at your sacrum. Press your fists towards the floor. Shoulders down and back. Drop your chin to your chest. And send the breath to any tightness. Chin coming back to neutral. Make sure your feet are happy and stable and connected into the earth. Big in-breath. Exhale, drop your head to the inside of the left knee. Reach your hands up towards the sky and release your head and neck. Coming into humble warrior, if that works for you. If you don't like it, stay up. If you're here, let your shoulders relax. Enjoying each breath here, upside down, a different perspective. And in this perspective, you're working hard. And so sometimes things look even more different here. Could you give yourself grace here, as well as in other spots that feel like humble warrior? Inhale, rising back upright, gazing forward. Press your fists to the floor, head is neutral. Taking a moment here to recalibrate. Something we rarely do in medicine. Release your hands and bring them up to heart center. Hop your back foot forward, being kind. Setting yourself up for success. Spread your toes wide, lowering them down on the front foot. All four corners, hands to heart center. You'll shift your weight and raise that back foot up. Wherever feels good. More is not better. And if it's fun, releasing your hands. Only if it's fun. And if you wobble or tip over, that's not a problem. Lower your back foot down, cartwheel your arms open. Coming into warrior two. Bend your front knee, gaze over that left middle finger out the window or towards me, whatever you're gazing towards. Huge breaths here. Engage your right inner thigh, wrapping it inward. Exhale, sink into that front knee. Notice if you have to wiggle your toes farther forward. Inhale and drop that right hand down. Coming into peaceful, graceful warrior, I'm going to call this today. Enjoying how it feels, creating space for things to move. Huge inhale, bathing the whole left rib cage. Pouring the breath everywhere, using the breath as a conduit for sludge and stuckness and old things that maybe you want to loosen. Big breath into every nook and cranny here. Exhale, coming back to warrior two. Straight that front knee. Your right hip's going to shift backwards. Left fingers are going to reach far, far, far forward. Exhale, drop your left hand coming into Trikonasana, triangle pose. Gazing upward if your neck is okay with it. Rising back up, coming back to warrior two. We'll lower our hands, cartwheel them to either side of your foot and hop that back foot all the way forward. Release your head and neck once again. Grasp your elbows. Knees are bent generously. Have a little sway to either side. Finding your center in your feet. And pausing. Bring your hands to your sacrum, clasp them there, press your fists into the back wall, and you'll allow your hands to fall over your head and neck, releasing here, enjoying your shoulders. If your neck feels tight, soften. You can shake it, roll it, let your hands fall a little bit more. Bend your left knee, straight your right, and gaze over towards the right. Bend your right knee and straight your left and gaze to the left. Appreciating those shoulders for all that they do in all of your parts of your life. Bend your knees, come back to center, and let your hands fall forward a smidge more. Send the breath into any tight spots with kindness. If your belly's in the way, just move your legs out of the way. Appreciating you and this body on this journey together. Bringing your hands back to your sacrum. You'll run them down the backs of your legs towards the floor and slowly, 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 slowly rolling up to stand. Taking your time. One of the things we do here at Sagrada is take our time. Transitioning well, paying attention. When we transition well, we end up where we'd like to end up, where we want to end up, rather than where we think we should end up. And so taking a moment here to find your mountain pose, perhaps lifting your toes, rooting them downwards, using all four corners of your feet, which means the two outer edges of your forefoot and the outer edges of your heel. Drawing up the Sagrada mountain energy up through your legs into your belly. Tilt your pelvic bowl, engage your belly, align your spine. And with grace, grow tall, stand tall. Taking a moment here to appreciate all the things that you've done on this wild journey so far. Breathing in and out. Our doctor minds focus on all that we haven't done. But take this moment to let in all of the amazing, spectacular things that you have done so far. And inviting the possibility of more spectacular, wonderful things. Not because you haven't achieved them yet, but because they just sound fun. And we'll bring a hand to heart again, another hand to top. And a check-in to notice how you feel. And we'll open our eyes and let your hands fall and just shake things out. Notice how you feel. And I'm inspired to do dancer pose. Many of you who don't like balance classes, I was trying to think of the tactful way to say that. Go to the wall and use the wall as your friend. It's here to help you. And I will demonstrate the wall. I like to invite dancer on the first day because we tend to not dance and enjoy our lives anymore. And so a little bit of dancing and heart opening is beautiful here. So someone can use this too. I can use this wall. So have a wall. Beautiful. And whichever, let's see, you're going to do that side, whichever side you want to be on. Taking in an inhale and a huge exhale, rooting your feet downward. Use your toes to help you. There are a lot of pediatricians here, so think about children learning to walk. They use their toes for balance. Lowering your toes, rooting them downward. You're going to take an inhale and an exhale. Engage that left leg, raise your knee up to hip height, and just pause here. Send the energy down through your right foot for balance. That right hand's just going to be light here, or on the wall, either one. Slide your left hand down over the left knee, wrapping it in front and bringing your heel to your rear end, and just pause here. Here is actually a beautiful dancer. You'll notice your thighs stretching, engage that belly. And if you have room or you want, you can raise that left hand up towards the sky. Notice your toes on that right foot and ungrip them, soften them. Our tendency is to grip as we move through things. It uses more energy, is actually less graceful. Inhale, pouring the breath in. And if you wish, you can tip forward, gracefully connect with the wall if you need. Press your foot into your hands, coming into a beautiful dancer. And enjoy it. Wiggle your fingers, coming back upright, lowering your hand, and lowering your foot. And have a little wiggle. Undo all what's happening in that right foot, whatever that is, with kindness. And resetting. Once again, the transition is key in yoga. We think the pose is the key, but it's the transition, and that's also true in life. Lifting up your 5 left toes, sending them downward, drawing up the energy of the earth all the way into that left leg, into your hips, evening your hips. Raise your right leg to hip height and pause here. Left hand loose. Slide your hand down over the leg in front and drawing it up towards your rear. And find your balance here, find your spot. You might notice this side is tippier or less tippy. Whatever it is the way it is. Reach that left hand towards the sky, standing tall. Huge breaths in here. Exhale, tip forward, bend the front knee a little bit for stability and reach the right foot into your hand, coming into dancer. The more wiggles, the more you're dancing. Enjoy that front right thigh as well here. Coming back upright. Enjoy the stretch if you would like a little more stretch. Lowering your hand and lowering your foot, shaking it out, rolling your shoulders, undoing your ankles. And let's actually come down to our knees. And I want to start out with broken toe this morning, because I feel like many of you are coming with a lot of energy that you'd like to let go of. So we'll just let it go straight off the bat. So you're going to come up, I'll just model it this way, onto your knees, standing tall. You're going to tuck your toes under, and you actually want to come take your fingers and grab those pinky toes also. Lifting up, hands are light on your thighs, and you'll slowly lower down with kindness, not overdoing it. And you'll notice lots of sensations in your toes. Coming back to the breath. Sometimes this is what life feels like. Anytime you need to lift up, just lift up and lower back down. Noticing the tension, and send the breath, soften in. And with each of these twangs, letting things go with the twang is how I like to envision it. Anything you're holding in your toes. Coming back to the breath. One more breath. Shifting your hands forward, untucking your toes, and give them a lovely bang. Enjoy it. Bang everything out that you'd like to send out. Have some fun with it. And we will come grab our blocks, if they are not nearby, putting them in front of you. And you can choose if you want them upright or on the half height. You're going to bring that right foot in front. We're going to come into a low lunge or Anjaneyasana with the blocks to start with kindness. You'll slide your back knee back. And I suggest putting your blocks under your shoulders, putting your fists on them, and lifting up. Notice what feels good to you. Using the blocks to support you. When we support ourselves well, we're actually much more able to soften. Letting go of the stories, getting back to that naked version of us, that childhood one with all of the dreams and hopes and desires. Somewhere along the way, we've lost bits and pieces of her. That's the invitation of that reading. What was in there that you'd like to bring back? If you shave off the patina, unbecoming the parts of you that aren't you, notice if you can reach towards the sky a little bit more, reaching the crown of your head up. One more breath here. Straight your front leg. Walk your blocks back. Reach your toes towards the sky. And send some love to the back of your right leg. Pointing your toe. And flexing your toe. And bend your elbows a bit. Whatever feels good. Pause here. Use those blocks to support you. Lifting up, you will slide the right knee back and just switch sides. Once again, use your blocks. If you need to put a blanket under your knee, also do that. Make sure that your left ankle is in front of the left knee, so you're not squinching your knee. And for those of you that are more flexy, like you, Archana, don't overstretch. Your work is going to be to not overstretch. So stretching where you need. Coming back to the breath. Reaching the crown of your head tall. You may even see if you can drop your shoulders here. Notice that when you soften, you're able to shift. Use that breath as a conduit. We know physiologically the breath shifts things. Envision it shifting things. Picks up oxygen, drops carbon dioxide. It can do lots of things, these cells and the breath. Using it as a tool to invite in what you'd like and let go of what is better gone. Particularly stories that you tell about yourself or your life. One more breath here. Sending some love to that hip if things are coming up in this moment. When it feels complete, you will straight your left knee and reach your left toes towards the sky. Walk the blocks to wherever they feel good. Inhale and fold forward on the exhale. Release your head and neck. Point your toes forward and flex them towards the sky. And point them once again. Just enjoy that for a moment. Notice if you'd rather point or flex, whatever your leg needs. As doctors, we always follow directions and do it the way we're supposed to, but notice what works for you here. Yoga is an opportunity to get to know your body. And you will bend the left knee, coming back to hands and knees. Move the blocks out of the way, and you'll widen your knees. Come into a child's pose, release your back. Let your forehead connect to the earth. Taking a moment here with your head down to think about all the things that you have done well so far. We are exceptional at noticing the things that we should have done differently, need to make up for, but appreciating here with your heart light in your chest, all the things you've done well. Breathing into that pericardial space for your heart to fill, soften, and release. Tucking into that retrocardiac space, some of those things that you've done well, something you're proud of, something you appreciate about yourself. feel complete, you can walk your hands back, slowly slide up, sweep your feet around you, coming into a butterfly pose. Feet together, knees apart, and find those sit bones. Have a little rock, taking the time to root downward, setting yourself up. Hands will come to your ankles and bring your heels towards your rear end. And breathe into your chest. In and out. Two more breaths here. Right into the groin, into your root. Noticing how right here in this moment all is well. And you'll open your eyes, spread your legs wide, coming into a wide angle pose. Find those sit bones once again, have a little rock, enjoy it. And you'll slide your hands forward, waist, you're gonna hinge at the waist this time, back is flat. Leaning in and point your toes. And flex your ankles towards your knees. Sliding upright once again. Engage your belly and reach your arms up towards the sky. Grow as tall as you can. Reach, reach, reach. Sit bones reaching down, fingers reaching up. Huge inhale. Exhale, twist to the right. Your left hand's gonna come to the right thigh. Your right fingers will come behind you. Inhale, grow tall. Twists are spine lengtheners. Lengthen your spine as you grow up. And exhale, gaze over the right shoulder if that's available. Reach your arms back up towards the center, coming back to midline. Drop your shoulders on the exhale. Inhale, grow tall once again. Reaching tall, sending your roots down, fingers tall. Exhale, twist to the left, being kind to your spine. You don't have to go so far if you don't want to. Inhale, growing tall through your ischial spines, through your vertebrae, each one lightly stacked upon the other. Reach the crown of your head towards the sky. And exhale, gaze over the left if you have room. Inhale, come back to center, reaching arms up. Sweep your arms out, grab your legs, bring them back to center. Bending your knees lightly. Find a good spot on your mat as you're gonna roll down and hopefully land on your mat. Using your belly, sliding yourself downward, taking time to arrive here. Notice if you want your knees bent or straight. Either is perfect. And allow yourself time to arrive here, just like the hot water. Bend your knees if they're not bent and walk your heels towards your sit bones. Palms will face the earth. Inhale and lift your hips up into a bridge pose. Hips are going to reach as high as you can. Heels coming back towards you. Notice if your knees are scrunched up and walk your toes a little bit farther away. You want your knees 90 degrees or more. Inhale, lift your hips up even higher. Shimmy your shoulders underneath you to open your heart space. Allowing your heart the space to see. I like to think of a lot of what we do this week as washing the windows of your heart. They're very dirty most of the time when we arrive. Lifting your hips up towards the sky, engaging your rear end. Knees energetically are connecting, not flopping out to the sides, but not actually. Lifting up once again, shimmy your shoulders under you a tiny bit more. Slowly untuck your shoulders, lowering your hips to the floor. Take a moment to arrive. Notice how you feel. We're going to come into a figure four, right ankle over left knee. You can stay here if this is what works for you. If you would like to grab the back of your left thigh, bringing your knee in towards you. Flex your ankles to be kind to your knees here. Press your right elbow into your right knee if that feels good. You can bring your hands to your left shin if that feels good. And I encourage you to have a little fun here. You can rock on your spine, tugging in a little more, a little less. Roll the left ankle if that feels good. Bring your hands back behind your left thigh and straight your left heel, Left leg's gonna straighten, your heel's gonna reach towards the sky. Flex your left toes towards your nose and point them towards the sky, flossing the nerves in the back of the legs. Flex your ankle, toes will come towards your knee or your nose, and reach your toes towards the sky. Relax your ankle. Bend your knee, release your hands, lower your foot to the floor. You're gonna drop your right foot to the floor on the left side, coming into a twist. So the sole of the right foot's gonna be on the floor, the outer edge of the left knee is gonna be on the floor. And once you're settled there, raise your arms to either a cactus or a T, whatever feels good for your shoulders. And if it feels good, gaze to the right. More is not better. So pause where it feels good. Bringing your gaze back to center. And bringing your knees back to center. Untangle them. Reorganize your hips. Your sacrum should be flat on the earth. And you'll bring your left ankle over right. Thread your hands behind the right thigh and hug it in. Flexing your ankles to be kind to your knees. Press your left elbow into the left knee if that feels good. Or grab your shin if that feels good. Whatever feels good. It may be different on this side than the other side. Envisioning your body. It's the same body that was born naked all those years ago. Realizing you and this body are on a journey. Maybe having a rock to massage your sacrum because it's fun and feels good. And pause back in center. Hands behind your thigh if they're not there. Reach your right heel towards the sky, extending the leg. Toes towards your nose. Press your hamstring into your hands and point your toe. And flex your toe towards your nose. Bend the right knee, lower it to the floor. And you'll twist to the right. Left sole of the foot's gonna land on the earth. Arms will come into a cactus, a T, whatever feels good. They can also stay by your side if that feels better. Do what your body enjoys. And if your neck likes it, gaze to the left. Bring your gaze back to center. And your knees back to center. Reorganize your feet. Uncross your knees and hug your knees in towards your chest. Bring your elbow towards your knees, squeezing tight, tight, tight. Exhale, let go of your knees. Let your feet fall to the floor. Soles of the feet together, knees apart. Coming into Supta Baddha Konasana, reclining butterfly. A hand to heart and a hand to belly. Checking in once again. Coming back to the breath. Taking a moment to appreciate the breath here with you every moment of the journey. Most of us spend a lot of time thinking about the human body, but not appreciating our own and what they do for us. From that first breath to the last breath. Choosing what you pay attention to, choosing what you breathe in. Notice your chest rise and fall. Noticing your heart under that left hand. And when you feel complete, you'll bring your knees together with your hands on the outer edges of your thighs, coming into Shavasana. You can put a bolster under your knees or just extend your legs and let your feet fall towards the outer edge of the mat. Grab a blanket if you wish. Setting yourself up for whatever would feel good to integrate. Come back to the breath for a moment, breathing in. And a long, delicious exhale, releasing, settling in, letting the earth hold you here. Letting your body breathe for itself, letting go of control of the breath, letting go of control of your muscles. Allowing yourself to soften in and let this mountaintop take care of you for a few moments. gently begin to deepen your breath. And slowly start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Taking in a big, deep inhale to stretch in whatever way feels good to you, long in front, long behind. And an exhale, letting things go. Rolling over to one side, whatever side feels good to you, and pause. Back in that fetal position. Taking a moment to connect with that you that came into this world. Her dreams, desires, wishes, without the stories, without the heaviness. Perhaps setting an intention to get to know her again this week. To let your heart see with her eyes. That journey of discovery is not necessarily in finding new landscapes, but changing how you see. And when you feel ready, coming back up to a comfortable seat where we began. Finding your sit bones and bring a hand to heart, the other hand to top. Once again, connecting right back to your heart space. Taking a moment to see with your heart, to listen to your heart. Perhaps just clearing a spot on the window today to let what it would like to see be seen. Coming back to the breath. Huge exhale. Thank you all so much for practicing with me this morning. The light in me shines and reflects the light in each and every one of you. Namaste.